Imagine if Silent Hill didn't have the foggy atmosphere, or if you couldn't find the skeleton in weird and funny position and Fallout, then the world that you have been placed in would be no different from your own. Oftentimes, the story or the worldview of the game that you're playing isn't told to you. Rather, it is shown to you through the environments that you exist in. Environments can communicate like words. In a game like Fallout, you never needed a narrator to tell you about the current state of the world. Instead, you're told through the burnt land, the roaming monsters, and the corpses lying around in abandoned houses of the post-apocalyptic worlds that you now live in. Today, I'm gonna discuss how the environments in video games can communicate with you and tell you the story of the game, because sometimes words speak louder than words.
Fallout is a game franchise set in an alternate universe where a global nuclear war took place in 2077 called the Great War, which devastated the world. Players wake up in vaults years after the war and are thrust into a world of ruthless factions, mutated monsters, and struggling survivors. In the world of Fallout 4, the players can learn about the world of the past through the environment and the settings that they explore. Take the South Boston military checkpoint, for example. This is an abandoned military checkpoint that players are able to stumble upon whilst exploring the map. Here you can find barricades and abandoned vehicles. Alongside that is an emergency broadcast that is played on loop, describing this checkpoint as a military safe house for Commonwealth Army soldiers.
This is an emergency message to all Commonwealth Army soldiers. Emergency protocols 17 Echo Charlie Niner are in effect. If you are in distress, please proceed to the South Boston Military Checkpoint for aid. Coordinates are available in your emergency handbook. This checkpoint has been designated as a safe house in case of enemy invasion, and is currently stocked with additional food, water, and ammunition. This safe house is for military personnel only. Citizens, including non-military family members, will be turned away for matters of national safety. This message will repeat.
Players are shown a hint of the war that took place. People running, soldiers retreating, scared of the invasion that was coming. Inside the checkpoint, players can find a terminal which has records and information from the war. The Department of the Army that is stationed at the checkpoint, and information on how vehicles should be searched and how civilians should be handled. It also contains the past records of searches that took place in this checkpoint, providing a brief yet clear image to the players of how this checkpoint functioned in the past. There is also a skeleton that can be found on the roof of the checkpoint, lying down, gun next to him. What do you think he was doing? One more fun Easter egg that players are able to find around the map are skeletons, all remnants of the Great War. Nothing in the game explains these skeletons or the positions they're in. They tell their own stories, and players are able to create a narrative of what happened to these people before the bomb hit. One skeleton is in the bathtub, with mannequins surrounding them, machete in hand, except one holds a plunger? This type of mysterious world building really allows the player to imagine the possibilities in the world that could have led up to this point. Did the person set these up themselves before the bomb? Or did some wandering passerby think it'd be funny to set up a menacing scene around this person taking a bath? Why is the skull in the toilet? No one will ever really know, but it allows the players to make their own world in the game, their own reality of what really happened.
Dark Souls 3, one of the most notoriously challenging games ever, and gave millions of gamers anger issues, is a legendary RPG game that pioneered an entire genre of gaming called the Souls-like games. You essentially just go through the game by killing different enemy units and bosses until you want to smash your computer and quit gaming forever. The world in Dark Souls is, well, dark. Yeah, pretty obvious. You're surrounded by abandoned medieval architecture, and you travel to places where undead soldiers roam. When you first arrive in the world, you go to a bonfire. It is quiet, ruined, and feels ancient. The game never explains why it matters, but you arrive here every time after you die. So I guess you're quite used to this side. But it gives the players a sense that the world that they are in is broken and fragmented. What used to be here is no longer here. Other than that, almost every place you go is a city that is the haunted shell of its former self, like the High Wall of Lothric or the Smoldering Lake. They are all incredibly bleak and dark, and there are ghosts everywhere. Before anyone explains to you what has happened here, you can already tell that the place has been ruined. In the game, the environment has always been the primary storyteller, because almost no one ever speaks in this game. The game also has a DLC called The Ringed City, which takes place thousands of years after the main game. In the DLC, the world is basically ending, and like all places you've been to in the main game, have been mashed into this one big chunk of architecture, which is called the Dread Heap. You are supposed to navigate through this place to reach the Ringed City, and you are guided to track down the slave knight Gael and kill him, so you can collect the blood of the Dark Soul to help the painter create a new world. In the Dread Heap, you can tell that the structure of the place is weird. It's like cities above cities and buildings above buildings. And if you played the main game before the DLC, you can find traces of the places you were in during the main game, like Lothric, Earthen Peak, and Lordran. So you will really think about how the places you used to suffer in has become.
In games, the world themselves tells you a story that is already finished before the player ever took a step in the world, whether it be the environments you've been placed in, notes found hidden in the world, or even descriptions of items you find. All of these contribute to the story of the world in which you're now the main character. Players are allowed to discover meaning for themselves. Instead of being told what happened, players explore, observe, and interpret the world around them. It transforms worlds into stories and players into characters. So next time you play your favorite game, try to imagine the story that happened in the virtual world that you're living in. Because sometimes, worlds truly do speak louder than words.